Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of WJAY Nightly News. This is the premiere episode for Monday, September 9th, 2024. And as always, it's a great honor and privilege to come into your homes once again, welcoming you back. I am, of course, your host, Jason DeCanio. And this is, of course, the continuation of what was DMS 3000 News Live. Now on our channel, WJAY, all TV and sports channel. So we hope that you have had a fantastic summer and that you are ready for the fall. And this week, of course, yesterday was Grandparents' Day, but it's also coming up in 2 more days, September 11th with Patriot Day. And of course, the presidential debate is happening tomorrow night, while all the new programs of mine are coming on the schedule here. Don't forget also, too, tonight at 7 o'clock on the Discord channel, Joker's Wild, Tic-Tac-Toe, and Blockbusters will continue their regularly scheduled recordings. And we're looking forward to see if our champ, Scott McVeigh, can continue his winning ways. And the Joker's Wild, of course, we have a fantastic champion there. And, of course, on Blockbusters, it's a big jackpot worth $60,000 tonight. That's all coming up. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the program. But on today, the first show, of course, we have some fantastic headlines for you, which we'll get to in a moment. But here are our 3 main topics from the Reader's Digest that we always get our information from. If you're looking to get married this fall, and a lot of people like, June weddings and the summertime for their ceremonies and, getting married and for all that. But if you're the kind of person that is looking for an engagement ring, well, how much should you spend on an engagement ring? This is something that I think is very important to kind of consider because, as you know, weddings are very expensive, but there are ways around it. You can make a spectacular gift for your fiancé or woman of your life, as they say. So this is really for the men and for all you women or who are actually proposing to your man, which is very, very slim, but very rare in instances, because if you love your man that very much, you would pop the question if that was the real case instead of him waiting around. So we'll look at that and see how much you really should be spending on an engagement ring. It really should be how much do you want to spend? It's the question. And for all you people who are pumping gas, and gas is an expensive commodity these days, how to spot a credit card skimmer at gas pumps and avoid getting scams. Now, we've seen the videos countless times of, in 7-Elevens and convenience stores having these specific scanners these skimmers that basically, steal your information right under your nose. What the pumps and the debit machine that are on the actual pumps themselves, no one really seems to be paying attention to. So we're going to give you the real reason to it on how to spot a credit card skimmer to make sure you don't get scammed. And what is practical intelligence and can it be improved? You've heard of the intelligence quotient, the IQ, and people have basically judged others on how intelligent they really are. But in the meantime, is that the only thing that you can improve on? Well, practical intelligence. We'll see what happens when we look at that later on in the program. Of course, we have our News of the Weird every Monday here on WJAY Nightly News, the holiday of today. And I heard today was actually National Teddy Bear Day. Cute. But we're going to be looking at some fantastic foods that are associated with this holiday. And, of course, the motivation of the day at the end of the program. Plus, of course, headlines, sports, and other important information. And, of course, I have great news for you. As I basically am on Weight Watchers. And now, 41 weeks into the program, still, my current weight as of today, I gained a half a pound. So now that puts me at 297.5 pounds. The last time I was on the program before with DMS 3000 News, I think I was still about 301 pounds or somewhere in that vicinity. So I've still kept it under 300 pounds, and I'm happy to say that I'm trying to get that goal, and in each way, shape, or form, for that matter. And, of course, some new programs for you to look at here. We'll put them on the ticker right now. Versus premieres every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. on StreamYard. Yes, the show VS will be here tomorrow night on StreamYard, hosted by myself. We'll be looking at specific topics. We'll contrast them. And then at the end of the program, you get to vote on which one you like better based on the history of that particular product or topic or something of that same. But there'll always be two things to contrast. We'll look at it and give you the breakdown on each half hour of the program from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. And if you're a tier master, you are wanted because you are back. We're back. That's right. Wipe Those Tears returns season 2, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. right here on StreamYard. Myself and the tier masters will be here, and a new surprise will be gracing us with their presence. Yes, a new tier master is being inducted and being baptized on this program Wednesday night. So tune in. It's going to be a big show. All right. And so those are the things right now going on as far as the programming schedule. So when you look at that, definitely, check it out. Go, of course, to the Facebook group page. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. We'd love to have you here. Okay. Now, let's get on with it. Of course, we've got headlines, sports, and other important information. Let's pull it up with the headlines from NPR News for today, Monday, September 9th, 2024. Well, goats and soda. Whatever happened to the Brazilian besties creating an mRNA vaccine as a gift to the world? NPR's coverage of their effort to invent an mRNA vaccine that would be free for all countries to manufacture brought them an award for altruism in health. We checked in on their progress. You go to it, NPR, for sure. Hungry for new podcasts? Well, here are 8 episodes about how climate change affects our food. Yes, add these episodes to your listening rotation during the NPR Network's Climate Solutions Week, where we're dedicated to stories and conversations about the search for climate solutions. We're always in search. Never one's, persistence on that. Okay? Princess Kate completes chemotherapy treatment for cancer. Yes, the Princess of Wales announced earlier this year she had been diagnosed with an unspecified form of cancer. I hear she's doing well and attending those soccer games, never once breaking her tradition as a professional football fan. After midnight host Taylor Tomlinson is ready to joke about her bipolar too, mostly. Tomlinson was initially unsure about sharing her bipolar 2 diagnosis on stage, but she says, I got such an amazing feedback from people who had been struggling with their mental health. Yes, bipolar disorder is something you can maintain if you have it with medication, if used properly. But once you don't take that medication, friends, it's the future or bust. Tropical storm Francine strengthens in the Gulf of Mexico with its sights on Louisiana. Tropical storm Francine has strengthened in the Gulf of Mexico and is expected to become a hurricane before it reaches the U.S. Gulf Coast on Wednesday. They were predicting that Francine was going to do a strengthening of some sorts, and sure enough, unfortunately, Louisiana, you're going to have to brace for another attack on your what was pretty much now, if you're recouping from last time's hurricane as well. I think there's big major flooding, and they just take a hit every year, and I hope for once they get out some sandbags and some ways to evacuate the people. We'll be praying for you in Louisiana. Team USA finished 3rd in the Paralympic medal count, and here are the highlights. The U.S. placed 3rd in the overall medal count behind China and Great Britain. Here's a look at some of Team USA's athletic accomplishments, from winning streaks to historic firsts. If you are an Olympic fan and you love the Olympics, and of course we saw the Summer Olympics during the summertime, it was a great, a great release of not having to watch politics and everything else, kind of took your mind off of things. You had a chance to watch the Paralympics, and that's a great accomplishment for all of those who are, in that state where they can play freely without judgment. It's a great accomplishment, and I'm proud to say that our USA team, they take third overall in medal count. Colored televisions is an ungentle satire set in post-racial America. Danzy Senna's new novel is an exhilarating yet poignant riff on the struggling artist as a wannabe middle-aged sellout. The writing is endlessly quotable and meaningfully provocative. And France waves farewell to its sporting summer at the Paralympics closing ceremony. Yes, the event and its dance party atmosphere lowered the curtain on successful back-to-back games that captivated fans. Paris raised the bar high for future host cities, including Los Angeles, in 2028. Alleged shooter's mom warned Georgia school, and opposition leader flees Venezuela. The mother of the alleged shooter at Appalachia High School warned officials the morning of the shooting. Here's how administrators responded, and Venezuela's opposition leader has fled the country. The political flip-flop attack doesn't always pack a punch for voters. Ahead of Tuesday's presidential debate, both Vice President Harris and former President Donald Trump campaigns accused the other of flip-flopping. Well, draw your own conclusions on it. And tomorrow night, Harris and Trump debate in Philadelphia. Here's what you need to know. The ABC News presidential debate will be the first time Vice President Harris and former President Donald Trump face off ahead of the 2024 election. Here's what to expect. Well, I'll give you a little bit of insight that and important information in just a minute. How Harris's past debates set her up for sparring with Trump. Vice President Harris has used debates as turning points throughout her political career. On Tuesday, she faces her biggest debate challenge yet. Sure, she does. Let's see what she brings to the table tomorrow. California farmers turn to agave amid drought conditions and climate change. Farmers in California are trying to plant crops that don't require a lot of water. Some are turning to growing agave as a response to a warming state. And can most popular red wine in the U.S. endure climate change? Both Cabernet Sauvignon wines made Napa Valley famous. Now, hotter temperatures are starting to damage the grapes, so some wineries are starting to experiment. Dozens dead in Vietnam from Typhoon Yagi flooding, state media report. Typhoon Yagi was the strongest typhoon to hit Vietnam in decades, with winds up to 92 miles per hour. The country's meteorological agency warns continuing downpours cause floods and landslides. Wow. And are greedy companies to blame for grocery inflation? We looked at the data. Many shoppers blame stores and manufacturers for supermarket inflation. But what do the company's finances tell us? Or are they willing to share that confidential information? It should be public, Hair and skincare products expose kids to hormone-disrupting chemicals, studies finds. A new study links the recent use of hair oils and lotions and other personal care products with higher levels of phthalates in children. The hormone-disrupting chemicals are a health concern for kids. Ex-Memphis officers face trial and death of black motorist Tyre Nichols. Jury selection begins Monday in the federal civil rights trial of 3 former Memphis police officers charged in the 2023 beating death of black motorist Tyre Nichols. And Miami-Dade officer involved in detaining Tyreek Hill was placed on administrative duty. Hill was pulled over near the stadium for a traffic violation. The officers have been condemned for their use of force. The police department says it will review body camera footage. A Filipino preacher on the run for sexual abuse charges surrenders. Apollo Quiboli, accused of sexual abuse and human trafficking in the Philippines and similar charges in the United States, surrendered Sunday to authorities, officials said. And the GOP report on Afghanistan withdrawal faults Biden and could add fuel to presidential debate. House Foreign Affairs Committee report claims the Biden administration prioritized optics over safety. Democrats, the minority on the panel, reject the findings as relying on cherry-picked testimony. Sure they do. And finally, Jannik Sinner beats Tyler Fritz to win the U.S. Open weeks after doping exoneration. Number one ranked Sinner of Italy prevented Taylor Fritz from ending the American Major Tennis title drought less than 3 weeks after word emerged of Sinner's 2 positive drug tests. And there you have it, friends. The headlines for today, September 9th, 2024. Now it's on to some sports here. Let's go and let you know that the Mets, unfortunately, 9-game winning streak has come to an end yesterday. They lost 3-1. And, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs won their game. The Detroit Lions beat the Rams in overtime, 26-20. And I will say that the Bears actually beat the Titans. What a game. If you were watching that game, there was even a blocked punt that was returned for a touchdown. Wow. So football season is upon us. And, of course, we will go, and give you those scores. But you can always check them on Google and look at the scores as well. It's something that we won't really touch base upon that much here, unless you really want us to. But most of the time, you can go on YouTube and check those great highlights and just go on Google and search MLB scores, NHL scores. It's all there for you. And we have some things that we'd like to, of course, touch on that we would think would be more important to you. But if you feel that you want us to have those sports scores, please send us some direct messages, post comments, of course, in the chat in here. And now for some of the important information that I wanted to get to. Now, before we take a break and go to News of the Weird, the important information I'd like to have to tell you about what this program is that here we are back after 53 episodes of DMS 3000 News, and we're back on our own channel, on our own StreamYard page. Now, no one is telling me how to run this. No one is giving me any advice on it. I'm pretty much taking the current format, tweaking it a little bit, but putting in things that now are necessary. Of course, we have our commercials, our retro commercials, thanks to Mr. Brandon Martin and Brandon Bogard, the two Brandons, I like to call them. They've given us 8 commercial blocks for the next 2 weeks, so we're covered for the next 2 weeks at least. That's great. Thank you, gentlemen, and we always are glad that you have the time to edit the commercials, put them together, and you'll see a great list of 4 blocks per show each and every night. Now, because we're here early at 5 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock on Mondays, we still have a few more weeks of taping for the game shows. Oh, I have a comment, by the way. Yes, Imunasha is in the house. Thank you very much, Emu. That is, of course, Brandon Bogard, if you would like to know. But I would like to mention on the important information why we're here early on Mondays from 5 to 6:30. It's because from 7 to 10, we're still wrapping up the season 4 and season 3 of Blockbusters, Joker's Wild, and Tic-Tac-Toe. So, of course, we've pushed this program into the 5 o'clock to 6:30 slot, just a temporary fix until the game show recordings is finished for the time being. And then we'll be back to the regular time slot from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So just on Monday nights from now until the game show's recording, you'll see us here at this time slot. Please do join us for the rest of the week from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. to get, of course, the rest of the news each and every day, and, of course, the great topics that follow as well. Now, as I mentioned before, Wipe Those Tears is coming back this September 11th, which is this Wednesday night at 9 p.m., and there will be a huge, huge surprise as a new tier master will be anointed and brought in to be with us as a permanent fixture. And we're not going to tell you what's going on or tell you who he is until Wednesday night. Now, the tier masters know who I'm talking about, and they're happy and excited to welcome this individual. But let me say this much. This individual has gotten pretty much a bad rap over the past couple of weeks and months. And because of his situation, as I always say, one door closes, another opens, the opportunities. And there is a lot of trolls out there and haters that don't like this individual. but I've taken this individual on to give him a chance to try other things. And I think it's fair to say that I think he will do fantastic. And I think he will bring a different, how can I put it? A different perspective on the things we grade on the Tier Master scale. So with that in mind, I'd like to say that if you have a nasty comment for Wednesday night, if you're a troll and you think you're going to come in here and totally destroy our program with your stupid lewd comments against any of my Tier Masters, you will have to answer to me on that. So I'm giving you fair warning in the next 2 days. I will be monitoring the comments. In fact, Brandon Bogard will be monitoring the comments as well. And anyone who speaks out of line against anyone in and during that 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. show will be thrown out and permanently banned. So do yourself a favor. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all, because you're only going to be hurting yourself. And we don't have time for trolls. We don't have time for haters. And we sure as heck have to get in as much of the games of the Nintendo Entertainment System as we possibly can. So sit back, enjoy the program. You can comment. You can, of course, play along with us here and grade on a different scale if you'd like to. We'll definitely have who am I, where am I, and what am I to kind of keep you all busy. So there'll be plenty of things to do and interactions as well. In the meantime, like I said, I'm giving this gentleman an opportunity to prove that, okay, he had a bad experience. He burned a couple of bridges, but we all burn bridges, friends. And they all say this is business. Well, the only way I look at it is if you're making money, then it's a business. But if your show is not making money and it's just a podcast, that's all it is a podcast. All right, when we come back, we'll look at, of course, news of the weird and then go into our headlines. Well, not our headlines, but our first article, which is how much you should spend on an engagement ring. That's all coming up when we come back on WJAY Nightly News right after this.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, at Carvel, it really doesn't matter. I'm Cookie Chick. That's right, Cookie Chick. And both the chocolate-covered egg and myself are custom-decorated Carvel ice cream cakes made fresh daily at participating Carvel ice cream stores for Easter.
Now, would you like to send one to a friend? Please call the toll-free number that you see listed here, and we honor most major credit cards. Thank you.
Watch us make your food fresh at Taco Bell, Taco Bell. Can you feel your taste buds tingle? Taco Bell, Taco Bell. Watch us make you a burrito or a tasty enchilada. Tostadas and tacos made up fresh at Taco Bell. Put a smile on your face. Taco, Taco, Taco Bell. Everybody loves the taste. Taco, Taco, Taco Bell. 'Cause we're the fresh food place. Taco Bell.
Is gasoline rationing imminent? A report at 11.
What, Mom? The Chex Party Mix is for the guests? Good grief.
Don't worry, now it's so easy. We can make more in 10 minutes.
I can't even make toast.
Just mix up the Chex and the seasoning, shake it in a bag, and pop it in the microwave.
They're not coming? We can't eat the Chex Party Mix? All right. Chex Party Mix. It's so easy and so good.
Come to Pathmark's Sidewalk Sale. And with coupons from Sunday's paper, pick up fabulous savings like Pathmark Premium Ice Cream, 99 cents. Watercraft Mayonnaise, 99 cents. 2-liter Pathmark Soda, 2 for 69 cents. And Tyson's Frozen Cornish Hens, perfect for barbecue, only 69 cents a pound. Save at Pathmark 24 hours a day.
Pathmark #1.
If you love crispy, juicy fried chicken, and who doesn't, fry with all-natural Wesson vegetable oil, and what do you know?
You're frying right.
Wesson's 100% all-natural,
Crispy and light. You're frying right.
with no additives. You know, not every oil is all-natural, but Wesson is 100%.
So go ahead, take a bite. You know
Wesson vegetable oil, one of 3 all-natural oils from Wesson.
you're frying right.
Drinking water is essential to your health. That's why you need to drink plenty of water to keep you hydrated throughout the day. Unlike power drinks or soft drinks, water is truly the only drink that can quench your thirst. It's an easy, refreshing way to keep your body healthy and strong. Freshen up today with a brisk, cool bottle of water.
If you happen to have a water softener, you're even more blessed to know that the water quality that you'd be drinking and putting in your body is actually even better for you than if hard water versus soft water. A great topic for Versus for the next couple of shows, next couple of weeks. Stay tuned. All right, it's time now for News of the Weird. Yes, that's right. The editors at Andrews McMeel Syndication for uexpress.com are back once again for another week of their hilarity and craziness. Every Friday, they update their stuff, but here on the Nightly News, we'll have it to you, of course, on Monday, which is right now. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the lead story, which is Look, Don't Touch. Yeah. So, picture it. A curious young boy at a museum, an ancient artifact unprotected by glass. Bet you can't guess what happened next. Well, August 23rd reports CNN. A 4-year-old boy visited the Hetched Museum in Haifa, Israel, with his parents. And according to the child's father, the boy noticed a large ceramic container and pulled the jar slightly, wanting to see what was inside, accidentally smashing the 3,500-year-old relic in the process. Whoa, museum officials were unfazed. We are appealing to parents. Don't be afraid. Things like this happen, said museum head Inbal Riven. We will fix the jar and put it back. The Hetched Museum displays some items without protective cases, a nod to founder Reuben Hetched's belief in allowing the public to experience archaeological finds with a few barriers as possible. While the jar dates back to 2200 BC and 1500 BC, and was likely used for storing and transporting liquid goods such as wine or oil. Finding an intact vessel was something of a rarity, and restoration efforts are already underway. Have faith, young lad. You're not in trouble. You might still get a spanking from your father, but in the meantime, you can hold your head up high and know that restoration is in the process. A 71-year-old flat owner in Rome woke one night to find a burglar in his residence reading a book about the Iliad. The BBC reported on August 24th that the would-be burglar claims he broke into the building to visit someone else and simply found himself in the wrong unit. Yeah. Spotting Giovanni Nucci's book, The Gods at 6 o'clock, a retelling of the Iliad from a divine perspective. The 38-year-old settled in for story time. And when the homeowner awoke and confronted him, the thief attempted to get away via the balcony, but was soon arrested. News of the bookworm burglar made its way to the author, who said he'd like to give the criminal a copy. He'll have been arrested halfway through reading it. I'd like him to be able to finish it. Nucci said that his book, Deity, is Hermes, the god of thieves and of literature. Well, let's see. That'll keep him busy for a while, right? The UK-based Royal Mail Service delivered a postcard to the Swansea Building Society of Wales a mere 121 years after it was posted. Now, the BBC reported on August 21st that the Christmas-themed postcard was addressed to Miss Lydia Davies and signed by Ewart. Among other, Ewart apologizes for not picking up a pair of an unknown item. I am so sorry, but I hope you are enjoying yourself at home. While the postcard made waves online after Henry Darby, the Swansea Building Society's marketing and communications officer, found it when sorting through the post. Unable to find any information about Lydia, he took to social media for help. West Glamorgan Archives confirmed that a John Davies once lived at the address in question with his wife Maria and 6 children, including Lydia, who would have been 16 when the postcard was sent. Well, a groundhog made headlines in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, about an hour from Punjatwani, but not for predicting the weather. Fun seekers playing the claw machine at a local arcade realized that one of the stuffed animals was blinking back at them, reported the Associated Press on August 14th. Manager Lynn Castle of the Meadows Frozen Custard and Mini Golf isn't sure how the critter got in, but said it almost took an army to release the rodent. Employees contacted the machine's owners, who passed the buck to the police department, who called in the Pennsylvania Game Commission. Game wardens were able to open the machine and set the rodent, dubbed Colonel Custard, free in a nearby field. Castle and the Meadows wasted no time capitalizing on the incident, making T-shirts that said, "Respect the groundhog," and naming a frozen treat flavor after their furry visitor. It's a good story that ended well, Castle said. He got set free and no one got bit. Yeah, that's for sure, right? Everybody was happy. They made money. And you got a free T-shirt and a custard flavor named after the Colonel Custard, that is. Yes. Okay, some people yell, throw things, or shut down when they get mad. Not Dr. Giovanni Baula. Yeah, Baula, I think. Baula. According to court records in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is about west of me, about 2 hours, on two separate occasions, the good doctor expressed his ire with Dr. Dylan Dinesh by dousing the latter's office doors in gallons of fluid that smelled suspiciously like urine. As the smoking gun reports, court documents say the liquid soaked into the front window wooden doors, causing irreparable damage. Well, Dinesh's practice suffered $6,000 worth of losses, in addition to the $1,500 to replace the doors. Bala was arrested and charged with a felony count of criminal mischief, but released after paying a $5,000 bond. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Bala doesn't exactly have a clean rap sheet. In 2003, he was fined $10,000 and reprimanded by the Board of Medicine for a number of standard of care violations, including improperly prescribing medication for a telehealth client that he never physically examined. What in the world, right? His medical license expires in January of next year. Thank God. Maybe he'll learn a lesson or two, right? Thanat Sangatuanan of Thailand recently had a bathroom break that was, well, nuts. India's Deccan Herald reported that on August 22nd, what started as a routine trip to the washroom ended with Thangtawanan killing the python that had bitten his testicles. I felt something biting my balls, which was very painful, so I put my hands in, he said. Okay, well, now we know why this guy is desperate to go fight a python, right? After whacking the reptile on the head with a toilet brush until it died and released its grip, Thangatuan headed to the hospital for a tetanus shot. Doctors assured him that his injury wasn't too deep and that no stitches would be required. Perhaps he should count himself lucky. All things considered, pythons are known for suffocating and squeezing their prey to death. Yeah, they're not poisonous, God willing. On August 28th in Älmhult, Sweden, the site of the first IKEA store, 2,052 of the furniture giant's employees donned two-piece pajamas and set a Guinness World Record for the largest ever gathering of people wearing two-piece pajamas in a single venue. Or, the world's largest pajama party. The matching PJs featured images of lingonberry jam and gravy and homage to the store's iconic Swedish meatballs. Yep. The party was scheduled to align with IKEA's new year-long initiative to innovate a range of sleep products to improve every aspect of home that supports better rest, according to a company statement. Yep. And one surefire way to go viral online, well, call out Wendy's. Yeah. Tired of customers complaining about long waiting lines? The Myrtle Beach Sun News reported that Patty Childers, owner of the Saltwater Grill in Longs, South Carolina, posted a sign on the restaurant door that said, "Other than the buffet, our food is cooked to order. If you are in a hurry, Wendy's is right down the road, or come another time." Well, she's giving you a choice, right? You want good food, you're going to have to wait for it. And it's worth the wait, I guess, if they really have some great food. Or just go for the buffet, I mean, shoot, it's there, it's ready to go, and you get a little taste of everything. Everybody in Horry County cannot eat between 5 to 8 on Friday night. Please don't expect speedy service during those hours. The sign went viral after being picked up and posted by a Facebook page called Bitchy Waiters. It was more or less a joke, Childers said. 36-year-old Amy Slatton, best known for starring on TLC's 1,000-Pound Sisters alongside her sister Tammy, was arrested on Labor Day on charges of drug possession and child endangerment after an incident at the Alamo Safari Park in Tennessee. Now, police were responding to reports that a guest had been bitten by a camel, but they noticed suspicious odors coming from Slayton's vehicle, leading to the arrest. The Daily Mail reported that Slayton had lost 176 pounds since she had weight loss surgery 5 years ago. On September 3rd, the Kyoto News reported that a decade-long effort to eradicate mongoose from Amimi Oshima Island in Kagashima Prefecture has been declared a success by Japan's Environment Ministry. One minor detail, the mongooses, or the mongoose, were not native to the island. They had, in fact, been introduced on the island in 1979, when about 30 mongooses were imported to eradicate the habu, which is a species of venomous viper. One problem, the mongooses are active during the daytime, while the snakes they were supposed to kill or cull are nocturnal. So rather than doing the one job they were hired for, the mongooses, whose numbers swelled to around 10,000 by the turn. That's supposed to be 100,000 by the turn of the century. They have played havoc on the rabbit population and destroyed crops and native farms of fauna. Yeah. The eradication effort included the placement of 30,000 traps and even a mongoose sniffing dog. Well, this is an achievement that could contribute to the preservation of rare species and the natural heritage, Environment Minister Shintaro Ito said. And finally, 70-year-old William Bryan died during a splenectomy at Ascension Sacred Heart Emerald Coast Hospital in Walton County, Alabama on August 21st. But USA Today reports that Bryan's family has filed a lawsuit against the hospital, alleging that surgeon Thomas Shagnovsky, if I get that right, who was supposed to remove Bryan's spleen, removed his liver instead. Oh, jeez. Causing massive blood loss and killing Bryan instantly. Well, after the fatal procedure, a pathologist identified tissue from the removed organ, which had been labeled spleen. Was actually liver tissue, and an autopsy on Bryan confirmed that his spleen was still in his body. We take allegations like this very seriously, said a statement from Ascension emailed to USA Today, and our leadership team is performing a thorough investigation into this event. Oh, wow. And there you have it, friends. News of the weird. Yes, from the editors at Andrews McMeel Syndication for uexpress.com. There you have it, friends. Great articles. And, of course, you'll see News of the Weird every Monday right here at this scheduled time. And, wow. And Emu says, while I was watching this part, a small dog was chasing me. Okay. Yes, for that matter. Well, when we come back, we're going to be, of course, looking at our first article of the day, which is how much should you spend on an engagement ring? We'll take a look at that article and be right back with more of the nightly news right after this important bit of messages.
How can I ever forget one of my special customers, little Michael? Every week he'd come in, and every time he'd say, his eyes shining.
Stork reason, please, Mrs. Lang.
One of those reasons I had to give him immediately. The others I put in a bag for him. Now there is Stork Chocolate Reason, a long-lasting, chewy chocolate caramel covered with rich chocolate, just right for Michael.
Stork Chocolate Reason, please, Mrs. Lang.
And Michael still eats the first one immediately. Stork Chocolate Reason, the everlasting chocolate chew.
The GE 2500. It can do almost everything but talk.
GE, we bring good things to life.
This is Polaroid's new Time Zero One Step.
Pretty. Why is it black?
So you'll know it's the Time Zero One Step. And here's the world's fastest developing color. You see it in seconds now, not minutes.
Look at that color. But why a Time Zero One Step?
It comes with a pack of Time Zero Supercolor film in this made-for-each-other pack.
Certainly are made for each other.
Just like coffee and cream.
Rolls and Royce.
Or me and you.
Try ham and cheese.
Grapefruit juice? Sure, it's good for you, but...
Great for dieting, but plenty of healthy vitamin C, but...
But the taste? Well, pour on the pink for a taste you never expected. Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail. Zesty, tangy, sweeter.
This is grapefruit juice? It's not bitter.
Hey, pour on the pink. Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail. It's not just good for you, it's good. Ocean Spray good.
My friend Al's having a big party to watch the big game. So I'm setting him up with some KFC Super Buckets. For just $9.99 each, he's getting 15-piece buckets, jumbo buckets of 36 hot wings, and variety buckets with 3 kinds of tasty chicken. I said, how are you going to carry all these? Oh, maybe that's why I'm invited.
The KFC Super Buckets, just $9.99. Get them in Lake Edna or your neck of the woods.
Well, now, if you're getting married this fall and you're deciding on what kind of how much you're willing to spend on your loved one who you are going to propose to, the big question is how much should you spend on that engagement ring? Weddings are expensive as they is, but there are ways around it where you can, of course, cut your budget in half by supplying your own food and other things and really doing everything you can to trim that price so down, so low that you'll be able to really have a great time without breaking the bank. But let's talk about the engagement ring itself. That's where we're going to really look at here. And this is by Charlotte Hilton Anderson from July 31st of this year. So, how much should you spend on an engagement ring? Here's what to know before you buy. Will you marry me? Well, people dream of the moment they get engaged, often citing it as one of the happiest days of their lives. And while sure you can just pop the question, doing it with an engagement ring is a powerful symbol of your love and commitment. So while you're looking at sparkly little works of art and learning all about cuts, color, and clarity, your other big question will likely be, how much should you spend on an engagement ring? The short answer, perhaps not as much as you think. If I could bust 2 big myths about buying engagement and wedding rings, it would be the idea that you have to spend a lot to show your love. And because it's an investment piece for your future, says Grant Speed, a gemologist, neither of these are true, and thinking this way can get you into financial hot water quickly. Well, since this may be one of the biggest single purchases you ever make, Reader's Digest spoke with engagement ring specialists Grant and Carrie Speed, certified financial counselor, LaDonna Cook, and celebrity wedding planner Donnie Brown to guide you through the process. Keep reading to find out the average cost of an engagement ring, how much you should spend, and what really constitutes the perfect ring. And we hope this information makes your ring buying experience a lot more freeing, fun, and ultimately more affordable. So, there's the question. How much should you spend? Wow. Well, the average cost of an engagement ring, $5,500. What couples want to spend? $1,000 to $5,000. So before you buy it, do be realistic about your finances. Make a savings plan. Research the diamonds and other stones and metals, and consider family heirlooms. Good idea. But don't feel the need to spend 2 to 3 months of a salary and put yourself in debt. Use a credit card unless you have the money, and forget to discuss cost with your partner. Remember, it's always nice to know that what your partner is going to end up getting from you will just as much please her as knowing that you didn't have to break the bank for it either. So the answer is as much practical as it is romantic. Spend only how much you can afford without going into long-term debt. There just isn't a concrete rule for what you should spend on an engagement ring anymore, says Cook. In the past, you may have heard something like spend at least 2 or 3 months' salary, but that is more marketing than real advice. Does not consider stagnation of wages, increases in prices, new trends of student loan debt, and more. And to figure out exactly what you can afford and how much to spend on the engagement ring, Cook recommends taking a holistic look at your financial situation. And this includes your current and predicted income, including your average monthly income, your regular bills like rent, utilities, food, and medical care, your current credit card debt, your longer-term debt like car and student home loans, where you live. Prices for rings vary widely around the country, how much you have in savings, large future expenses, your partner's opinions, as this will likely become a joint debt. Sound overwhelming? Well, before you pick the perfect sparkler to slide onto your beloved's ring finger, check out this simple engagement ring calculator. And that's another story, too. If you click on the blue here, you can see that there is an actual link that takes you to another article about this. So, which takes into account other factors like your future goals and current lifestyle. Now, the important thing to remember when deciding how much to spend on an engagement ring is that it's just one part of your life together as a couple, says Grant, adding that you'll have several large major expenses in the near future that will impact you far more than the ring. Think the wedding, honeymoon, purchasing a home, and or having children. You should also avoid buying an engagement or wedding ring as an investment piece. In the past, people saw jewelry as an important part of their household wealth, explains Grant. But the truth is, it is a depreciating asset, and you'll never be able to sell your ring for what you bought it for. So, how much does it cost? The average engagement ring? Well, the cost of that engagement ring is about $5,500, according to the Knott's 2023 Jewelry and Engagement Study. With that said, prices vary widely based on the source of the stone, the cut, the clarity, the setting, whether the ring is custom made or off the shelf, and the jeweler, says Grant. Of course, you can find rings in any price range. So what are people actually paying? Couples in the Mid-Atlantic region are the big spenders, shelling out around $6,900 for the perfect ring. Meanwhile, those in the Midwest are more budget conscious, typically spending about $4,900 on an engagement ring. So, should you insure it? Well, yes, you should always insure your engagement ring, wedding rings, and any other pieces of fine jewelry, says Grant. The first step is getting an independent appraisal of your ring. And contrary to popular belief, you don't want it to appraise for a surprisingly high number. People think that means they got a great deal, but in reality, it means that you'll pay more for insurance premiums, and yet you won't make that much money back if you ever try to sell it, because the jeweler likely sold it to you at the market value, explains Carrie. And once you have it appropriately appraised, will generally need to purchase a separate rider for the ring on another insurance policy, like your homeowner's insurance. People often assume their homeowner's insurance automatically covers their rings, but this usually isn't the case, explains Grant, adding that you can add a ring rider to nearly any type of insurance policy, including renter's insurance and car insurance. Speak to your insurance agent for more information about what your policy covers and any changes you would need to make to ensure your rings are protected. And don't worry, it's possible to keep costs down without sacrificing quality or beauty. Here's how to do it according to the experts we spoke with. The number one mistake people make when buying an engagement ring is using the store financing, says Grant. Big box jewelry stores will heavily push their own in-house finance options, which come with very high interest rates. They often make more money on the financing than the ring itself. The solution is to either pay in cash or get a personal loan through your own bank before shopping, he says. And Cook doesn't generally advise making large purchases like engagement rings on credit card because they have very high interest rates. But they can save you money if you're smart about it. There are two things to look for: cards that offer airline miles, money back, or points that could be used toward your honeymoon, and cards that insure the ring through the credit card company. Just make sure you have a plan to pay it off immediately, she adds. This is a ring your beloved will hopefully wear for the rest of their life. So one of the top etiquette rules of getting engaged is to make sure it's something they really love, which usually means shopping with them before the proposal, at least to get an idea of what they like, says Brown. If you surprise them with a ring they don't love, they may feel pressure to accept it anyway because they want to say yes to the proposal. And these days, lab-created diamonds are about 30% cheaper than those mined from the earth, and they're generally indistinguishable from traditional diamonds, even to trained gemologists. Plus, they're more ethical, sustainably sourced, and better for the environment, says Carrie. She adds that many couples now are looking at more unique options like moissanite, colored gems, sapphires, and pearls. Although you should talk to your jeweler about the durability of those stones and how to set them so they last. It's still true that nothing is as hard as a diamond, she notes. And metal prices, like everything else, have skyrocketed over the past few years, but they do go up and down with the market. Do your research and look for a good time to buy the metal you're interested in, or consider a metal that is more affordable at the time. For instance, while you may really want platinum or titanium, you can often get the same look for less by using a different metal like white gold, says Carrie. And you can also save money by choosing a pre-made band style rather than making it custom. Another pro tip: don't limit your search to things named engagement rings. Many cocktail rings work just as beautifully. And you should also know the times of the year when it's cheaper to buy certain items, including fine jewelry. Open and honest communication is Cook's top tip. Financial issues are one of the top things couples fight about and can really affect the relationship. Use this as an opportunity to practice talking about your money, she says, adding that you should do this even if you want the ring itself to be a surprise. Discussing how much you should pay for an engagement ring could be one of your first open conversations about money and an important step toward your and your partner's future financial successes. And do you have a ring that's been in the family for generations? Well, these make beautiful and sentimental engagement rings, says Cook. You can even take the existing stone and put it in a new setting to freshen it up. Some jewelers offer secondhand rings at a lower price as well. Avoid buying secondhand from pawn shops, though, as you can't know what you're really getting, says Grant. And once you've decided about how much you should spend on an engagement ring and have found the one, well, it's time to move on to other pre-wedding plans, including figuring out the best wedding registries and which wedding traditions you should incorporate into your big day. And there you have it, friends. Thank you for the sources and all of that. And hopefully you get an idea of what you are planning for and getting into when you go out to buy any ring, whether it's for an engagement or, for that matter, something else. We'll be back with more of the nightly news right after this.
Is this the reaction you get when you serve your kids vegetables? So how do you get them to eat their vegetables? Just add Cheese Whiz. Cheese Whiz. It's got the unique cheesy taste kids love. no matter what it's on. Cheese Whiz tastes great on anything and everything. Cheese Whiz, it makes food taste better to kids.
And now there's a new way for kids to enjoy the great taste of Cheese Whiz. New Cheese Whiz squeezable cheese sauce.
I've always been a pizza snob. Frozen pizza? Never. And then I discovered Stouffer's. It's terrific. You know why? They don't use pizza crust. Stouffer's uses good French bread because French bread really stays crisp and delicious, even frozen. And then Stouffer's heaps on the best pizza makings. I'm still a pizza snob. The only frozen pizza I'll eat is Stouffer's.
There really is a good frozen pizza. Stouffer's.
If I'm feeling mellow, I just want cheese and tomatoes. If I'm feeling attractive, I say put on some pepperoni, you know? If I'm feeling wild and crazy, I just tell the guy behind the counter, throw it all on. My.
Hello, I'm here to tell you a little bit about pizza etiquette. Can you do this? Yes, it's acceptable. It's good cold in the morning for breakfast. I've done that. I think how many have done that? Can you take it and go from the other end, crust first? No, I'm sorry. You have to start at the point. Say, that's a well-balanced breakfast. Want to make it taste extra delicious?
Yeah!
Well, everything tastes yummy with Golden Blossom honey. Everything tastes yummy with Golden Blossom honey.
Yeah!
Cereal, toast, and pancakes. Honey makes them yummy. Muffins, waffles, pastry too. Breakfast goes with honey. Everything tastes yummy with Golden Blossom honey.
Gee, you really know your honey.
Love that Golden Blossom.
McDonald's new McDLT. It could be the best tasting lettuce and tomato hamburger ever. You get a hot side hot. You get a cool side cool. New McDLT. And the hot stays and the cool stays. New McDLT.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
New McDLT. Come on in and try McDonald's new McDLT for the everyday low price of just $1.49. We think you'll agree McDLT could be the best hamburger value ever.
Well, enjoy your new soda.
Thanks.
Hello, Joan. A Serta. Does this mean you won't count us anymore?
One, come up here. Come on. Feel that comfort.
Never.
I'd like to try.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, guys. Hey, well, hold it. Hey, stop it. No, this is unprofessional.
I forgot to get ye.
Happy now, mattress man?
Serta, we make the world's best mattress.
While you are pumping your gas and, traveling around, of course, this past Labor Day, everybody was out and about doing vacations before the kids went back to school. And, of course, taking your kids to school costs you a lot in gas as well, too, as prices have not come down since 4 years ago, as they say. But now, of course, the scanners and the scammers are out there, and they're putting skimmers all over those gas pumps to try to steal your credit card information and set you up for identity theft. So Jamie Stathis here is basically going to show you that you can avoid this at the pump in several steps. But knowing how to identify a gas pump skimmer is the first step in protecting yourself from this common scam. Drivers are keeping a close eye on gas prices, which are at an all-time high. But a lack of cheap gas isn't the only issue you might face when filling your tank. A gas pump skimmer can do a real number on your bank account. Gas station fraud commonly occurs when the use of skimmers, small devices that thieves place on or above the card readers at gas pumps and ATMs, to copy and steal your credit card information. They used to be found primarily in cities, but the scam has spread into rural areas, and everyone should be on alert for these devices. One of the best ways to avoid being a victim of a gas pump card skimmer is to take the extra few minutes to pay inside. But time is valuable, and while most people are willing to download the best gas apps and gas credit cards to save money on gas, they're less thrilled about jetting inside each time to fill up. Still learning how to protect yourself while paying at the pump is the best way to avoid getting scammed. Well, the credit card skimming devices are installed on point-of-sale terminals, allowing thieves to take information off your card when you swipe it. A credit card skimmer is a device that transfers data from your credit card stripe, says Chris Hawk, consumer privacy champion at online privacy and security site Pixel Privacy. Skimmers are usually found on gas pumps or other point-of-sale devices in areas that aren't being monitored every minute of the day, as this allows the bad guys time to install a skimmer on a pump without being observed. And while you're at it, check what a BIN attack is, and what you should know about this new type of credit card fraud. Well, as the name indicates, this device skims data off your credit card when you use it to pay. A credit card skimmer is a magnetic stripe reader placed on an existing legitimate card reader, says Paul Bischoff, a privacy advocate with cybersecurity website Comparatech. Whenever a customer pays with their card, the card is read by both the skimmer and the original reader. Because customers see their sales go through, they don't have any reason to suspect anything has gone awry with their purchase. Skimmers are designed to be discreet so that the victim doesn't notice them. The skimmer stores scanned credit card info until the person who put it there retrieves it. From there, the thief can perpetrate online scams using your credit card information to buy things online. Credit card skimmers do work on chip-enabled cards. However, they read the magnetic strip on your card, not the chip, so avoid the stripe reader or the strip reader when possible. Think of this as one aspect of what should be a multi-pronged approach to avoiding gas station scams. Use a chip reader on the pump if it's available, Hawk says, and always use a pump that is in a visible part of the gas station, such as the pump right in front of the cashier's window. High visibility pumps are tougher to attach skimmers to. Well, what do they look like? Yeah, they look exactly like that. To an untrained eye, gas pump skimmers, card skimmers, are designed to look like part of the point-of-sale hardware. They are usually bulky and plastic, stick out further than the machine, and have arrows that don't line up. The device may also wiggle because it's not a permanently affixed piece of the machine. And because they are attached to existing card readers, they tend to bulge out a bit, Bischoff says. If I'm suspicious, I'll often give the card reader a tug and prod to make sure. And I do that all the time, too. I tug at it, prod at it, do a little things. And if it's in there tight, I know it's good. But external skimmers aren't the only way your credit card can be skimmed. And even people trained in surveillance techniques can fall prey to gas station scams. One Secret Service agent who was involved in an investigation about gas pump skimmers was the victim of gas pump fraud himself, twice. So even a government official who is trained on this topic often can't tell if skimmers are there. Robert Siciliano, CEO of cybersecurity training company Protect Now, adds that it's becoming increasingly common for gas pumps to be skimmed internally. And this means there is a device attached in the communication lines that intercepts the card number as it travels over the internet. So how do I know if my gas pump has a skimmer? Well, there's the official label, the security label. Usually when you hit the gas station, you're concerned with things like getting better gas mileage and making sure you don't accidentally put diesel in a gas car. But you really ought to spend the time it takes to fill your tank and inspecting the gas pump. There are a few telltale signs that a pump has been tampered with and may have a gas pump skimmer attached to it. Before you pay at the pump, inspect the point-of-sale terminal by following the guidance below. Look at the machines around you and compare the card reading slots and keypads. If they don't look the same, some might be equipped with credit card skimmers. Inspect the lockable door on the pump. It's where the attendant loads paper for receipts to make sure it's firmly closed. There shouldn't be any uneven gaps in the casing that indicates tampering. And some gas stations place tamper-resistant seals over the door, which is something to look for, though not all stations take this extra step. Ensure that nothing on the point-of-sale machine wiggles, and take a few seconds to verify that everything is firmly attached. Also be aware of hidden cameras that these may have installed to capture your PIN when you enter it. So educating yourself on how to spot a credit card skimmer and what card skimmers do is a good first step in protecting yourself from gas pump fraud. As a rule of thumb, exercise awareness anytime you are using a public pay station or when your card leaves your site. A shop employee who takes your card into another room to run the transaction could be dipping the card into a skimmer, for instance. And pumps that aren't in the gas station attendant's line of sight gives thieves an opportunity to attach a skimming device. Stay safe when you're filling your tank by following the expert's tip below. Whenever possible, choose the pump closest to the building, they're closest to employees, and the least likely to have been tampered with. Avoid using a debit card if possible. Should you be forced to use debit, run it as a credit card so you don't have to enter your PIN. Debit purchases take the money right out of your account, while credit purchases have a lag time for payment and offer zero fraud liability. Here are some more situations when you should not use your debit card. That's for another show. And because scammers may use cards that have been skimmed to pay for online orders without the merchant seeing the physical card, identity theft protection company LifeLock suggests setting up alerts to let you know if your debit or credit cards are used for a card not present transaction of $100 or more. And in addition, Siciliano recommends regularly checking your statements, especially if you're often in crowded areas like subways and airports. Avoid the PIN pad if at all possible. Always use the chip or the Apple Pay type pay system. Bischoff advises a chip-enabled card is safer than swiping your credit card. And Apple Pay creates a unique code for each transaction, which offers some built-in protection. If you visit the same gas stations frequently, buy gas station gift cards. They don't have any of your personal information connected to them, and since they have a limited value, your potential losses, should a scammer somehow get the numbers, would be relatively minimal. And use gas apps, which offer a safer way to pay at the pump. And if you think your card has been scammed, you should report it to the Federal Trade Commission, both to protect others from being scammed and to help the FTC break up skimming rings. Installing the mobile apps for your various accounts is a convenient way to stay on top of your transactions, but regardless of how you do it, regularly checking your statements is critical, and timing can make the difference between you incurring out-of-pocket costs or not. Not all credit card companies offer fraud protection, so you should also report the crime to your financial institution as soon as possible. How much you're responsible for depends on how quickly you report the compromised card. And there you have it, friends. Another great one from Jamie Stathis. And that, too, should give you an insight about skimming and cards of that nature. It's very important, and especially since we're getting into the holiday season with the fall and, of course, Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. It's very important that you make sure that you are well aware of the situation. All right. Finally, we'll be coming up with our final look at, not our final look, but our next look at the third article on our list of things here, which is what is practical intelligence and can it be improved? We'll look at that article, plus the motivation of the day and what holiday it is, and wrap up our program right after these important informational messages.
Hey, Tom, what's with the beekeeper suit?
Well, Panda Express has this new honey sesame chicken breast. It's sweet, crispy, and delicious.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but since we can't go to Panda, I figured we'd make our own.
You sure about this?
Trust me, I'm practically the king bee.
Long live the king.
Introducing new honey sesame chicken breast. Thin, crispy strips of all-white meat chicken with fresh string beans and yellow bell peppers. Wok tossed in our new honey sesame sauce. Only at Panda Express.
It's coming!
The thick, rich taste you love. But sometimes, some days, you're in the mood for something a little bit tangy, a little bit kicky, a little bit spicy. Yeah, Heinz 57 sauce. It's like ketchup with a kick.
Excuse me! Is it asking too much to put up a wet paint sign? I'm supposed to be storming a village in Gaul tomorrow and I've got absolutely nothing to wear! No, it's no good. I'm too upset. I'm going home.
Sorry. You're sorry. 9X. More information, more solutions, more stuff.
flaky, shaky tires that are ready to blow. There is only one place you should go. When you want low prices that'll beat all the rest. Only Tire Kingdom meets the test. Come to Tire Kingdom, yeah, the Tire Kingdom. Cause only Tire Kingdom gives you more. Guaranteed lowest prices, fastest service, best selection. Tire Kingdom is your only tire store.
Hey, you're a guy, and guys want to be cool. Hang out with other guys who are cool. But even cool guys sweat. 40% more than women, in fact. So how you gonna stay cool? With something new, Speed Stick Gel. No other gel keeps you drier, so you always feel your coolest. It's unbeatable gel protection, and guys, no matter how cool they are, need all the protection they can get. New Speed Stick Gel. It's just for the guys.
Life is
These tires are all the same, Goodyear, but they're all different. Different tires for different drivers. They've got them all, and they're all very good.
Instead of a tune-up, all I needed was a little fuel filter. It saved me money.
I just got white letter Eagle ratings. Hey, looking good never hurts.
You gotta be good to be Goodyear.
Goodyear tires and auto service for more Goodyears in your car. We're Goodyear!
A smart mechanic and a computer add up to good car service every time.
When it comes to the tires I drive on, I'm not about to pinch pennies. I want the best I can get. Goodyear.
They don't waste my time. They don't waste my money. That's just plain good business.
You gotta be good to be Goodyear.
Goodyear tires and auto service for more Goodyears in your car. We're Goodyear!
Well, you've heard of the intelligence quotient, but what about PI, or in this case, practical intelligence? And can it be improved? Tina Donvito is actually going to tell us about practical intelligence, and it's becoming the new norm around here, which pretty much speaks for itself. This article came out back in May of this year, so let's take a look at it. And if you think IQ is the only measure of intelligence, we invite you to learn about practical intelligence. We may take what it means to be smart as a given. You got straight A's in school and can add up a table of numbers in your head, or maybe you scored well on the IQ test, which measures your intelligence quotient. However, psychologists have been trying to come up with an intelligence definition since psychology itself was first established as a scientific discipline in the late 1800s. In recent times, other theories of intelligence have been proposed that challenge the intelligence definition in psychology as a fixed IQ. Instead of just one measure of smarts, more modern ideas suggest many different types of intelligence. One such theory that's gained traction is the tracheiarch theory of intelligence developed by psychologist Robert J. Sternberg, who's a PhD, now a professor of psychology in the College of Human Ecology at Cornell University. In Sternberg's tracheiarchic theory, three types of intelligence exist simultaneously. My tracheiarch theory of intelligence basically states that there are three aspects to intelligence: analytical, creative, and practical. Sternberg tells Reader's Digest below, let's take a look at different types of intelligence and how they each play a part in a person's life. Well, we asked Sternberg himself to tell us about the difference between analytical intelligence, creative intelligence, and practical intelligence. An analytically strong person generally does well in school and on standardized tests, but is not necessarily creative or high in common sense, he says. This is the closest intelligent type to the old high IQ notion. A creatively strong person is very good at generating novel and useful ideas, but may not be as good at critiquing ideas or in applying them in the real world, Sternberg says. A practically strong person, one with high common sense, is good at applying ideas and persuading others, but they may not be as good at analyzing ideas or coming up with their own ideas. Some years back, I was director of graduate studies in the psychology department at Yale, Sternberg remembers. 3 students who applied to our graduate program caught my eye, and that's how I came up with theory. Three different people with three different patterns of intelligence. In looking at the three students, Sternberg saw that they were all smart in different ways. One, whom I have called Alice, had great grades and test scores. She was admitted to the graduate program, he says. She proved to be very good at what the standardized test would be good at. If you gave her a problem, she almost always could solve it, so she did well her first year. But she lacked creativity and had trouble coming up with ideas of her own, so by the end of her studies, she was floundering for lack of ideas. Alice had analytical intelligence. A second student, whom I have called Barbara, had decent grades but lousy standardized test scores on her GRE, that's graduate record examinations, Sternberg says. But she had done extremely creative research as an undergraduate. She was rejected. I was the only faculty member who voted for her and decided she should be given a chance, so I hired her as a research associate. She did terrifically and was admitted to a couple of years later. But Barbaras are rarely given a chance in our educational system because standardized tests, if anything, penalize creativity. This is unfortunately the downside of creative intelligence. And the third type of intelligence in Sternberg's theory was based neither on a person's ability to analyze information and reproduce it on a test, nor on coming up with novel ideas. Instead, it's based on their ability to apply their knowledge in the real world. A third student, whom I have called Celia, had grades and test scores that were okay, but nothing special. She was admitted, he says, and as a student, she seemed to be in middle of the pack, but when it came time to apply for jobs, she got an offer every place she applied. She was practically intelligent, and she could figure out what an audience wanted and give it to them. Celia had street smarts, common sense, know-how, and a way of reading people. That's the practical intelligence definition. So the idea of IQ is based on a G factor, or generalized intelligence, and is considered by some psychologists as too narrow in scope. Although it may seem limited now, the theory as conceived by Charles Spearman in 1904 was based on observations that people who exceeded in one area, such as reading or math, also performed better in another. You may recognize this approach in labeling certain children as gifted. We all use that term loosely. But Sternberg feels looking at intelligence in this way leaves out a whole slew of other factors that determine success in life. We all know someone who might not be book smart, but who can instantly navigate their environment even in unfamiliar circumstances. They're adaptable and can learn from past experience. They may also seem to possess a unique ability to influence people and get what they want. Well, this type of practical intelligence is its own unique and arguably very valuable skill. Conversely, people with academic learning might not be able to apply their knowledge to the real world to affect positive change. Not surprisingly, people with practical intelligence often end up in leadership roles due to their ability to communicate effectively with others and adapt to and shape their environment. If I think of presidents high in practical intelligence, I would think of John Kennedy, whose breathtaking charisma and idealism changed the nation even in his short period of time as president. Or Ronald Reagan, who was admired as someone who knew how to get things done, Sternberg says. Both presidents were inspirational in a positive way, making people better. Interestingly, he even sees a practical intelligence example in the founding of the United States itself. The Constitution is an example of practical intelligence at work, he says. How? Well, a group of ambitious, persuasive men used their experience to take action in order to shape their environment for the better. The original movers and shakers. A practical intelligence example in everyday modern life might be, as Sternberg mentioned, nailing a job interview based not only on your resume, but on your ability to navigate a tense situation, communicate effectively, and influence the people you're talking to. Successful managers, entrepreneurs, and salespeople are often very practically intelligent, although Sternberg says the skill can be found among many trades and professions. Practical intelligence, in Sternberg's theory, may also take the form of literal navigation in an unfamiliar city or subway system. Not just figuring out where to go, but how to get locals to help you with directions to get there. Well, science has found that kids inherit intelligence from their mom, but this is the best part of practical intelligence. You can learn it. You are not born with practical intelligence. You acquire it, Sternberg says. And practical intelligence is based on tactic knowledge or what you need to succeed that you are not explicitly taught, and that often is not verbalized. It's not even verbalized. It's not something you're instructed on in school because it's based on your own individual experiences. How you process the info you gather through your experiences, how you sort out the important stuff and mix it in with what you already know. Well, people with practical intelligence tend to do this without outward effort, which is why they seem to just have a way about them that lets them easily cruise through life. So, if you don't learn it in school, how do you gain practical intelligence? Here are a few tips. Building a practical intelligence is almost like learning how to learn. By taking your daily experiences and putting the knowledge you gained into practice, you acquire practical intelligence, and by learning from your experiences, Sternberg says experience is not enough. You have to actually learn from it. In addition, you can learn from experiences that aren't even firsthand. And hearing or reading about other people's experiences is a great way to expedite the acquisition of practical knowledge. Says Jennifer Hedlund, PhD, and Associate Professor of Criminology and Criminal Justice at Central Connecticut State University, who has researched practical intelligence with Sternberg. Learning from your mistakes. Well, the lessons you learn don't always have to be positive. You can also learn from failures or things that didn't work out the way you thought they would, at least the first time. In order to learn from our mistakes, we need to take the time to reflect on them and be open to considering the situation from alternative perspectives. Hedlund says, for example, she relates a story in which she dismissed her adult daughter's feelings. I started to reflect on why my response caused her to be so mad at me, she says. I searched online for some parenting advice and found that the mistake I made was not validating her feelings in the moment. I didn't provide the response she needed. I also realized that I had probably made that mistake hundreds of times before, but didn't take enough time to fully reflect on those prior interactions and get to the root cause of the problem. And you can also learn from other people's mistakes. In a class I teach on wrongful convictions, we discuss what factors contributed to the wrongful conviction in each individual case, including things like eyewitness misidentification and misleading forensic testimony, Hedlund says. But we also look for patterns across cases, such as the fact that a commonality among most cases is a lack of effective defense counsel. And then we can break the patterns in our own lives or careers by finding alternative ways to handle those situations. Another way that Sternberg and Hedlund identified to build practical intelligence is by developing or refining the skills involved in solving practical problems. First, Hedlund says, you need to identify the main and underlying problem, which often isn't as easy as it sounds because the root issue isn't always obvious, such as the above reason for wrongful convictions. And then, after assessing the situation and critically evaluating the facts, you can generate solutions or strategies to address the problem. And lastly, you can monitor the outcome to see if you've achieved the desired result and consider alternative solutions if it's not working. And to solve problems, you also need to be flexible in coming up with solutions for new situations. This means having an open mind and thinking outside the box, so-called lateral thinking, as well as keeping a clear head in challenging or changing situations. Being able to adapt to new information and new circumstances is a form of practical intelligence, Hedlund says, and the more we challenge ourselves with new problems, whether we for work or pleasure, the more we can develop our practical problem-solving skills. Understanding our strengths and weaknesses is at the core of practical intelligence, Hedlund says. If you know, for example, that you are very good at paying attention to details, people tell you that you are good at getting into the weeds. You can focus on looking for patterns or connections in the details, she says. Take advantage of the strong skills already in your toolbox to solve problems and put those skills forth when in group situations. Don't forget to also shore up your weak spots, challenge yourself, take your practice decision-making, put it on paper, and can you test practical intelligence and all the good stuff. Good article. You can, of course, do further reading up on this, but we're a little pressed for time here as we have to get moving on. Thank you, Tina Donavito, for another great psychological article that looks at not just IQ, but the PI of life. All right. We got another comment here. Oh, yeah. That's for sure. We'll be back with, of course, our final stuff, which is what holiday is today, and, of course, the motivation of the day. More of Nightly News right after this.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, at Carvel, it really doesn't matter. I'm Cookie Chick. That's right, Cookie Chick. And both the chocolate-covered egg and myself are custom-decorated Carvel ice cream cakes, made fresh daily at participating Carvel ice cream stores for Easter.
Now, would you like to send one to a friend? Please call the toll-free number that you see listed here, and we honor most major credit cards. Thank you.
Watch us make your food fresh
At Taco Bell, and you feel your taste buds tingle. Taco Bell, watch us make you a burrito or a tasty enchilada. Tostadas and tacos made up fresh at Taco Bell. Put a smile on your face. At Taco Bell, everybody loves the taste. At Taco Bell, 'cause we're the fresh food place. Taco Bell.
Is gasoline rationing imminent? A report at 11.
What, Mom? The Chex Party Mix is for the guests? Good grief.
Don't worry, now it's so easy. We can make more in 10 minutes.
I can't even make toast.
Just mix up the Chex and the seasoning, shake it in a bag, and pop it in the microwave.
They're not coming? We can't eat the Chex Party Mix? All right, Chex Party Mix. It's so easy and so good.
Come to Pathmark's Sidewalk Sale. And with coupons from Sunday's paper, pick up fabulous savings like Pathmark Premium Ice Cream, 99 cents. Watercraft Mayonnaise, 99 cents. 2-liter Pathmark Soda, 2 for 69 cents. And Tyson's Frozen Cornish Hens, perfect for barbecue, only 69 cents a pound. Save at Pathmark 24 hours a day.
Pathmark #1.
If you love crispy, juicy fried chicken, and who doesn't, fry with all-natural Wesson vegetable oil, and what do you know?
You're frying right.
Wesson's 100% all-natural,
Crispy and light. You're frying right.
with no additives. You know, not every oil is all-natural, but Wesson is 100%.
So go ahead, take a bite. You know
Wesson vegetable oil, one of 3 all-natural oils from Wesson.
you're frying right.
Drinking water is essential to your health. That's why you need to drink plenty of water to keep you hydrated throughout the day. Unlike power drinks or soft drinks, water is truly the only drink that can quench your thirst. It's an easy, refreshing way to keep your body healthy and strong. Freshen up today with a brisk, cool bottle of water.
Well, it's time for the Daily Motivator of today. Of course, Ralph Marston is once again at it with another great positive message for you. I was looking at the holidays of today, and yes, it is National Teddy Bear Day, but there wasn't any other interesting ones out there. I also found out that today was Colonel Sanders' birthday. Yes, KFC chicken is very interesting. And Emu says, I wanted to make crispy fried chicken tenders, but thank God my dad stopped me because I was using olive oil instead. Big mistake I made there. Yeah, when you're frying, or deep frying for that matter, use an oil that doesn't have a high flash point that could spill over and hurt you. All right, our daily motivator for today from Ralph Marston is intentional attention for Monday, September 9th, 2024. What you're paying attention to directly influences what you're investing in your life in. Could you be making more beneficial investments? Attention uses time. Attention provides perspective, and attention drives effort. These factors significantly impact the quality of your life and your world. And if you allow your attention can be hijacked by trivial or even nefarious matters. Yet you can choose not to allow that. Certainly, it's important to know what's going on in the world around you, but it's also important to point your precious, powerful attention toward furthering goodness and achievement. Every minute of every day, your attention is focused in one direction or another. Challenge yourself to manage your attention in a smart and purposeful manner. Attention serves you best when it's intentional. Invest your attention where it does the most good, and your life will benefit greatly. And on that happy note, friends, another show in the books, especially a great way to start the new nightly news right here on Jay's All TV and Sports channel. And if you would like to be a part of the program and be a special guest here on our show and talk about whatever interest you have, or if you'd like to share something or debate something with me, we are definitely available for your time here on the program. We're a 90-minute program, so if you want just 30, 60, or the entire show, we'll make it happen. And don't forget to tune in this Thursday, where my friend Zach Dietrichs, also known as Zach the Artist, will be here to talk about some of his drawings. I hope you will enjoy the time with him. And of course, any of the tier masters that want to come on and talk about their experiences of what they've dealt with so far, that's fine as well too. Whatever the case, we can have haters, we can have trolls, whatever you want to do. If you want to finally confront me and finally get it off your chest how much you can't stand my guts, yet I'm still here and doing what I've been doing since 2009, which is now exactly 15 years to the date, well, I'd like to hear from you and see why you hate me so much. But in the meantime, I'm Jason Nicanio, and remember, be honest, be real, and keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. Have a good night. We will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the next nightly news. Till then, good night.